Welcome to Time 414. Today we're going to talk about one of people's favorite subject, money. Okay, not really, just shopping in general, so kind of money related, but how to have your teenagers learn skills to be budget friendly. You know, we've all seen those memes, and there's like the little gif of the just throwing money out, setting it on fire, and talking about when you have teenagers. And you know, there's a little bit of truth to that, and it's only because they don't have a good concept of money yet, because they haven't probably most likely been working really hard for it and having to see how far the money actually goes once you start spending. So this can start early. This can start earlier than teenage years. This can, you know, I'm not going to put an age on it. That'd be a little hard. But, you know, my kids grew up watching us go grocery shopping with a list, and I would get things that weren't on the list, of course, but they would watch me look through the sales ads before we went and make a note of the things that were cheaper. They knew what coupons were because they watched, you know, me cut out the coupons and search online for coupons, and they would bring me coupons they found. Like, they understood overall that it made things cheaper, and that our goal was not to spend as much money as possible, but to keep the numbers lower. So in this house, there was already that concept. I'm going to back up here too just a little bit to say my children's path of them growing up probably had some big shifts in the financial things that they saw. It's probably been about 10 years ago that we found Dave Ramsey. So we had been through some tough times and rebuilt to the best of my knowledge with what we could do. And then, you know, one little accident at work with my husband and all that, you know, just the terror feeling came back, and I didn't like that. And like, I knew things were better than they had been, but just that fear when it grips you, I was like, there's got to be something better. There's got to be something different out there. You know, when we had rebuilt, we rebuilt just to the best of our knowledge. I never had actually went out to seek other knowledge, because when things first fell apart for us, when my kids were really, really little, it was a lot of circumstances. It was some bad decisions on our part, but then also compounding circumstances. So it was easy to believe that it was everything all put together, and we just needed to do better. But when that happened a second time, and again, like, it wasn't as near as huge, but that feeling was the same. And I was like, I don't ever want to have that feeling again. So I went looking online and I found Dave Ramsey. And I know there's a lot of people with different things about him. And I had ordered his book, and I picked it up and I was reading it like, okay, gonna do better. You know, for our family, we've got to do better. And I can tell you, after about like the first few pages, I threw the book. I threw it. I was like, what does this man think he can write and like know me so well, and we've never met, and he's speaking through a book and calling me out on all the stupid things I've done. So I had to let my emotions simmer down there a little. Then I picked it back up, and yeah, we've been on a budget. We've been planning. We've been doing the baby steps ever since. So I'm not sure how much my kids remember, especially like my youngest, from our pre-Dave days, but they've grown up, especially their, you know, later years, hearing about budgets and planning. And when we took a family trip to Disney World, that was years in the making, and we had a budget, and I joined every Facebook group I could find for cheap ways to do Disney, or, you know, Disney on a budget. And we got to do things there that were just magical. Like, when we showed up, I had wanted to do the Disney, I'm getting off track, but anyway, I had wanted to do like the Disney before hours or after hours, where there's only a certain number of tickets, and I couldn't find that anywhere online. So I was like, okay, that's, you know, whatever, we're going. I was going to be happy about that, totally happy. We went to check into our hotel and they were offering it, and we had the money in our budget to do that. I have 4 kids, so that was 6 tickets for all of us. And we got to stay after they closed the park one of the days, and it was wonderful. The whole trip was done in cash, but my kids got to see that. They got to see all the planning before that, all the research into that. Like, I brought our souvenirs with us, and the kids didn't get to see them, And I don't think my husband saw them. I'd have to ask him. I don't remember. But I had a whole other suitcase, where I shoved in our souvenirs. So when we went into the shops and there were Disney shirts or stuffed animals or whatever that were, way overpriced, touristy price, was like, wait till we get back to the hotel. And then boom, that day I had some of that stuff in. It was way cheaper here. And it was still exciting for them. It was the first time they were seeing it. So those, just little things like that. So part of being able to teach our teenagers to watch money is having practiced it ourselves, having them grown up seeing those things. So let's say maybe you have older teenagers and you are still learning yourself. That's okay. Just include them on the journey. You know how honest it is and how much they recognize that honesty to go up to a 17-year-old and be like, look, I've been wrong. Like all my life, I've been, not detrimentally wrong and not intentionally wrong, but I could have done better. I could have chosen better with my finances, and I'm working on that now. And I want you to see this. I want you to be on this journey with me, because I don't want you to have to take decades to figure this out also. So we talk about budgets. We talk about spending. Just regular shopping. So like my kids, they're a little more brand particular on some things than I am. There's very few things that I'm really brand specific on. There are some, honestly, the first things that pop into my head are food. It's mostly food. Q-tips. I like, brand Q-tips. I don't buy off-brand. But like clothes and stuff, I'm really not that particular. But, some of my kids are. So we learned, okay, then if you really want this brand, because I'm not paying that much for it, so you can save your money and pay for it, or we can find a cheaper way to buy it. There's always a cheaper way to buy something. If you want it new, we're going to look for an outlet mall or a discontinued something, or, look online, see if there's somebody that was selling it online that they're marking it down, or maybe they're not carrying that particular one. Or if they don't care if it's brand new, maybe, like new, or maybe just, a little bit used, then we're going to look at thrifting type places. And, honestly, if you haven't been before, you have to keep an open mind if you've never been, okay? But go to a Goodwill, go to a Salvation Army, go to, what's the other one? Volunteers America, I think. I usually go to Goodwill around here. You can find brand new things. People have stuff sitting in their closet that they bought that they never wear, and they bag it up and they take it in with all their other things. There's used to things there too, but I've gotten brand new things at a fraction of the price because somebody was sitting in somebody's closet and they didn't want it. So it requires a little more work, but so we make it into something fun here. You don't want to work to, buy a new outfit. So we make it fun. It's like a scavenger hunt. It's, let's go see what we can find. Let's go, or let's scroll online. If you're busy and you can't go to the store and you're looking online, we'll put down the videos, not this video. Keep this video. Keep my channel. Like and subscribe. Anyway, maybe stop with the reels for a minute and hop over. There's, my daughters are going to kill me because they know all the places, but there's, ThredUp, eBay, Poshmark, right? There's one that starts with a D. My daughter sold on it. Anyway, just Google online thrift or online secondhand. And, a lot of those sellers are private sellers. So maybe you don't like their prices. Some of those platforms, you can even offer them less. So I have one child right now that is getting interested in Coach purses. So I'm telling her, I have seen Coach purses at Goodwill. In Michigan right now, it is April. We're going into garage sale season, estate sales. Some of those you can find brand new things or like new things for a fraction of the cost. Like, it takes a little time, it takes a little patience, but the savings are huge. So you decide what it is you want, and like say the retail on whatever, I'm not going to pick an item because that's kind of, it's $140 and you only want to spend $40. So we're going to look for something to save $100. I want you to think of your job. How much do you get paid at your job? I mean, even if you get paid $50 an hour, if you spend 2 hours finding this thing at a lower price, you've already done better than what you would take home from your job. Because if you get paid $50 an hour at 2 hours on the job, you're not bringing home $100. Taxes are coming out and all the other things. So 2 hours of your time at your job take home is worth less than $100. But if you spend 2 hours finding this thing you want to buy for $100 less, girl math or whatever you want to call it, you've just now made your time more valuable take home than at your job. I mean, if you think about it that way, it's really not that hard to justify spending some more time scrolling, or, you know, with me and my kids, we would make an afternoon of it or an evening or whatever. You know, we're going to go to Goodwill and maybe we'll stop at someplace and get ice cream, or, you know, we would make it a trip. We would make it fun. And that's the big thing when we talk to our teenagers about budgeting, about watching where their money goes, about spending more wisely. At first, it definitely sounds restrictive, because the first thing that hits your head is, I'm not going to get what I want. First thing that hits their head. I mean, adults too, though. When adults hear budgets, it sounds constricting right away, right? We're putting limits on something, but it doesn't have to be. So let's say, I'm just going to hop onto this really quick because then I got to wrap this video up. Let's say it's something bigger that you want, like a vehicle. And with vehicles, I found, well, for me, because I look at mileage a lot, I drive a lot. And so mileage is important to me. So I'm a little bit, you know, I decide I'm going to give up on some of the other things. Like right now, my vehicle, I really love it. I named him Melvin the minivan. He does not have a sunroof. I like sunroofs, but it was okay because I got Melvin at a really great deal. So if you're looking at something bigger like a vehicle, you pick the things that are important to you. For me, it was mileage and price. Those were the two biggest things. Maybe your thing is utility. Maybe you do need a truck. Maybe, you know, all these things. You pick the things that are most important to you, and then you find a way to get them. There's vehicle auctions. My van right now is on a rebuilt title. My first ever on a rebuilt title, but I did some research, and a family member has had a vehicle on a rebuilt title for several years. I made the guy show me all of the documents from the repair work and from the original, you know, what was wrong with it. And it's been great. But I've bought vehicles at auctions before, helped my kiddos with that. You know, just ask around. Sometimes there's a family member or something. And, you know, don't be afraid to look out of the area. I have flown to other states to get vehicles. It's not something I would feel comfortable with a high mileage vehicle. But again, mileage is always a big factor for me. So I've now flown out of the state twice to get vehicles. Both times they were just escapes with low miles, but I looked at the Carfax. I had the salesman go out and like start it up. So I'm watching it all live. You know, you can do my research, but there are values to vehicles that are location specific. So whatever it is you decide you want, if you decide you want it cheaper, find a way to get it and make it fun. And involve your teenager and help them when there's something that they want. And if you get the, oh, it's too much work, like, then you can pay full price, but you're going to work and work and work until you save for the thing. And, you know, do the math with them like we just did, what your take home is versus how much you're saving, the value of your time. It's a valuable lesson.